Welcome to Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Linda Good, and along with a few other folks today, I am standing in for our minister, the Reverend Tiffany Sapp. Yesterday morning on a phone call, I learned that Tiffany had just tested positive for COVID. Oh. She wants to be sure that everyone knows that she's fine. Can you just hear her saying that? I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. And we, I'm sure, all wish her healing and sending our prayers and healing vibes to Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining us today. Especially warm welcome for folks who are new or newer. And if you have children that are 6 years old or younger, there is a child care downstairs, and somewhere one back here will help you find that if you're not sure where that is. You know, it's not lost on any of us how busy this season is. So the fact that you chose to come here this morning and take your time to be together with us is so meaningful. So thank you so much for being here. We welcome you, whatever your identity, whatever your ethnicity, whatever your spiritual path, you are welcome here. So we're going to begin the service today with a traditional Christmas hymn, Deck the Halls, and it's on page 235 in your gray hymnal. And if you'd like to please rise with me in body or spirit, let's sing this hymn, Deck the Halls, together. Angels sang of peace. Calls for peace are ancient. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Sing we joyous all together, heedless of the wind and weather. Heedless. Think about that. A synonym for heedless is unmindful. How can we, as an aware people, be unmindful of the fact that there is not peace everywhere in the world? In the West Bank, for instance, the very place where tradition holds as the place of the birth of the Christ child, there is no celebration. This honored place of the storied original nativity scene lies underneath the rubble of a devastating war. How then can we feel peace? In her book, Practicing Peace in Times of War, Buddhist nun and teacher Pema Chodron writes, "Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. This very moment is the perfect teacher." She adds advice not to let people or events pull you into their storm. Instead, she says, pull them into your peace. Another Buddhist teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, in his book, Being Peace, writes, "If in our daily life we can be peaceful and happy, not only we, but everyone will profit from this." This, he adds, is the most basic kind of peace work. My call to each of us today is to practice peace in our hearts in this very moment, allowing this moment to be that perfect teacher. Let us do so by joining in quiet contemplation, bringing to our hearts in the silence the peace we wish to see in the world in this very moment.
I'm Emily Catt. I'm your service leader for today. My pronouns are she and her. And I first came to this church seeking a different way to think about religion, about Christianity, and it has never in, 15, 20 years, it's not failed to disappoint. So I'm so glad you're here today to both cherish traditions of Christmas, but to be thinking about them in fresh, new ways. We're so glad you're here. We know Christmas means a lot of things to different people. Some of us are just unbridled joyful. Some of us are blue. Some of us are excited. Some of us are just ready for the holiday chaos to be over and done with. And it is 100% fine for you to have a little bit of all of that kind of mixed together in a big holiday mishmash. In our differences, we are still here together to contemplate what this season means for each of us in the wonder, the stress, the disruption, the awe. We are many lights, but we share one chalice. Let's read our vision statement together. It's printed in your bulletin to light our chalice. We work together as a church to transform ourselves, our community, and our world by sharing love, pursuing justice, and seeking wonder.
Even as our service invites us to more serious tones later on, we wanted to start with something fun, something playful and childlike. It is, after all, a joyous season, right? At the end of November, we asked friends online what a UU version of the 12 Days of Christmas would look and sound like. We got a wide variety of responses. Some were silly, some were playful, some were beautifully meaningful. Some reflecting the sometimes exasperating aspects of the season, as Emily mentioned. We hope that this will be as much fun for you to hear it as it was for us to create it. So we're going to now sing the 12 Days of UU Christmas.
On the first day of Christmas, the UU gave to me
some joy from the giving tree.
Second day of Christmas, the UU gave to me 2 candles lit
and some joy from the giving tree.
On the third day of Christmas, the UU gave to me 3 bored kids, 2 candles lit
and some joy from the giving tree.
On the 4th day of Christmas, my Julu gave to me 4 caroling books,
3 bored kids,
2 candles lit
and some joy from the giving tree.
On the 5th day of Christmas, a UU gave to me 5 coffee mugs, 4 caroling books,
3 bored kids,
2 candles lit.
And some joy from the giving tree.
On the sixth day of Christmas, a you gave to me.
6 friends a hugging.
5 coffee mugs. 4 caroling books.
3 bored kids.
2 candles lit.
And some joy from the giving tree.
On the 7th day of Christmas, a you gave to me.
Anybody?
7 festive lights.
6 friends a hugging.
5 coffee mugs. 4 caroling books.
3 bored kids.
2 candles lit.
And some joy from the giving tree.
On
The 8th day of Christmas, a you gave to me.
8 pride flags flying.
7 festive lights.
6 friends a hugging.
5 coffee mugs. 4 caroling books.
3 bored kids.
2 candles lit.
And some joy from the giving tree.
On the 9th day of Christmas, a you gave to me.
9 thank you letters.
8 pride flags flying.
7 festive light.
6 friends a hugging.
5 coffee mugs. 4 caroling books.
3 bored kids.
2 candles lit.
And some joy from the giving tree.
On the 10th day of Christmas, a you gave to me. 10 committee meetings.
9 thank you letters.
8 pride flags flying.
7 festive light.
6 friends a hugging.
5 coffee mugs. 4 caroling books.
3 bored kids.
2 candles lit.
And some joy from the giving tree.
On the 11th day of Christmas, a you gave to me. 11 smiles a beamin'. 10 committee meetings.
9 thank you letters.
8 pride flags flying.
7 festive light.
6 friends a hugging.
5 coffee mugs. 4 caroling books.
3 bored kids.
2 candles lit.
And some joy from the giving tree.
On the 12th day of Christmas, a you gave to me.
12 drummers drumming.
What?
It's supposed to be remixed.
Why mess with perfection?
11 smiles a beamin'. Are we even having committee meetings this month?
I wonder if I can actually get anyone to write thank you notes this year.
I'm just flapping this pride flag.
7 festive light.
Those hugs better be consensual.
5 coffee mugs. 4 caroling books.
3 overstimulated, restless, sugared up, and crying kids.
2 candles lit.
And all together now.
And some joy from the giving tree. Merry Christmas.
I read you this story that was written by Reverend Tiffany. So rather than going through the story trying to change pronouns to from us to her family and all of that, I decided to just channel Tiffany. So you're going to have to pretend that this is really Tiffany standing. I know it takes a lot of imagination, okay, but this is a time of year for a lot of imagination, right? So from Tiffany, this is her story about the missing baby Jesus. For me, that's Tiffany, the spirit of Christmas is always wrapped up with a connection to awe, the sense of traditions with family, that anything good can happen. And as the years go by, that family that I'm speaking of has shifted a lot. I'm no longer the blonde-headed, curly-haired granddaughter, hero-worshiping my older cousins and learning the hard way that grandma's furniture really needs coasters. And my paternal grandmother, who spent most of her grandparenting years between a home in Kingsport, some of you may have known her, and a farm in Hidden Valley, she hasn't been with us for many years now. And there's some grief with that. Seeing the generations march on, counting the folks who are no longer with us, but also being glad that for me and my family, it is balanced by watching the number of kids at the kids' table growing so strongly and tall. Even though she's gone, Grandma left a special gift with me that I carry still. It is a story. She gave me this story when I was in college and told her that I wanted to be a United Methodist minister. Yeah, she figured that I was going to take that path and that I probably needed to hear this story about what Christmas and Jesus should really be about. So this story is by a woman. It's a true story. The woman's name is Jean Jeffrey Geitzen, but Tiffany's grandmother told her this story that was written by Jean Jeffrey Geitzen. And it actually took place, the setting is in frigid North Dakota, back before internet and cell phones. Actually, it was before Walmarts and electric heaters, when most people heated their homes with oil or wood. Phone numbers were shorter, remember that? Yeah. Most families didn't own a car, and candy only cost a penny. This is the If You're Missing Baby Jesus story. And the story goes like this, with help from Emily. All right. Do you need me to move? You're good. All right. When I was a child, my father worked for an oil company in North Dakota. The company moved him around to different parts of the state. And at some point between one move and another, we lost our family nativity scene. Shortly before Christmas, my mother decided to replace the set and was happy to find another at our local five and dime store for $3.99. When my brother Tom and I helped her unpack the set, we discovered that in the set there were 2 figurines of the baby Jesus. Mom counted the figurines.
Oh, someone must have packed this wrong. We have 1 Joseph, 1 Mary, 3 wise men, 3 shepherds, 2 lambs, a donkey, a cow, an angel, and 2 babies. Oh dear, I suppose some set down at the store is missing a baby Jesus.
Hey, that's great, Mom. My brother and I shouted, now we have twins, baby Jesuses.
You 2 run back down to the store and tell the manager that we have an extra Jesus. Tell him to put a sign on the remaining boxes saying, if a set is missing a baby Jesus, call 7162. I'll give you each a penny for some candy. And don't forget your earmuffs. It's freezing cold out there.
The manager of the store copied down my mother's message, and the next time we were in the store, we saw on a piece of cardboard a sign that read, if you're missing baby Jesus, call 7162. All week long, we waited and waited for a phone call to come. Surely, we thought, someone was missing that important figurine. Each time the phone rang, my mother would say,
I bet that's about Jesus.
but it never was. My father tried to explain that the figurine could be missing from a set in Walla Walla, Washington, and the packing errors happen all the time. He suggested we just put the extra baby Jesus back in the box and just forget about it. Back in the box, I wailed. What a terrible thing to do to the baby Jesus, and it's Christmas.
Surely someone will call. We'll just keep them together in the manger until someone calls.
When no one called, by 5 p.m. on Christmas Eve, my mother insisted that my father just run down to the store to see if there were any of the nativity scenes left down there.
If you can see them right on the other side, right through the window. If they're all gone, I'll know that someone is just bound to call tonight.
Run down to the store, my father grumbled. It's 15 degrees below zero. This is North Dakota. Oh, Daddy, we'll go with you, I said. Tommy and I will bundle up good and we can look at all the decorations on the way. My father gave a long sigh and he headed for the front closet. I can't believe I'm doing this, he muttered. Each time the phone rings, everyone yells at me to see if it's about Jesus, and now I'm going off on the coldest night of the year to peek in a window to see if he's there or not there. My father muttered all the way down the block while my brother and I raced each other to the store. I was the first to press my nose up to the window where tiny lights flickered on and off around the window frame. "They're all gone, Daddy," I shouted. "Every set must be sold." "Hooray, hooray," my brother joined in, catching up with me. "The mystery will be solved tonight. Someone will call." My father, who had remained several steps behind us, turned on his heel and headed back home. Inside the house once more, we saw that the extra figurine had vanished from the set. And my mother appeared to have vanished as well. Someone must have called and she went out to deliver the figurine, my father reasoned, pulling off his boots. "You kids get busy stringing those popcorn strands for the tree and I'll wrap your mother's present." We had almost completed one strand around the tree and my father yelled for me to answer the phone. It was ringing. "Tell him we found a home for Jesus," my father called out. But the caller was not an inquirer. In fact, it was my mother with instructions for us to immediately come to 205 Chestnut Street and bring blankets, a box of cookies, and some milk. "Now, what's she gotten us into now?" my father groaned as we bundled up again. 205 Chestnut, why, that's about 8 blocks away. Wrap up that good milk in a blanket so it won't turn to ice on the way there. Why in the name of heaven can't we all just go on with Christmas? It's probably 20 degrees below zero out there now, and the wind is picking up. It is North Dakota, right? All of the crazy things to do on a night like this. Tommy and I sang Christmas songs at the top of our lungs all the way to Chestnut Street, all 8 blocks. My father carrying his bundle of blankets and milk. He looked kind of like St. Nick himself with his arms full of goodies. Every now and then my brother would call back to him, "Hey, Dad, let's pretend that we're looking for a place to stay. You know, like Joseph and Mary. Let's pretend we are in Bethlehem where it's probably 65 degrees in the shade," my father said. The house at 205 Chestnut turned out to be the darkest one on the street. One tiny light burned in the living room, and the moment we set foot on the porch steps, my mother opened the door and shouted,
"They're here! They're here! Oh, thank goodness you got here, Ray! You kids, take those blankets into the living room and wrap up the little ones on the couch. I'll take the milk and the cookies."
"Would you mind telling me what's going on, dear?" my father asked. We have just walked through below zero weather with the wind in our faces all the way.
Never mind all that now. There's no heat in this house, and this young mother is so upset she doesn't know what to do. Her husband walked out on her, and those poor little children will have a very bleak Christmas, so don't you complain. Oh, and I told her you could fix that oil furnace in a jiffy.
My mother strode off to the kitchen to warm the milk while my brother and I wrapped up the 5 little children who were huddled together on the couch. The children's mother explained to my father that her husband had run off, taking bedding, clothing, and almost every piece of furniture. But she had been doing all right until the furnace broke down.
I've been doing washing, and I've been doing cleaning and ironing for people, cleaning at the 5 and dime. I saw your number every day there on those boxes on the counter. When the furnace went out, that number kept going through my mind. 7162, 7162. Said on the box that if a person was missing Jesus, they should call you. Well, that's how I knew you were good people, willing to help folks. So I figured that maybe you would help me too. I stopped at the grocery store tonight and I called your missus. I'm not missing Jesus because I sure love the Lord, but I am missing heat. Me and the kids ain't got no bedding, no warm clothes. I got a few toys for them, but I've got no money to fix that furnace.
Okay, my father said kindly. You've come to the right place. Now let's see. You've got a little oil burner over there in the dining room. Shouldn't be too hard to fix. Probably just a clogged flue. I'll look over it, see what it needs. My mother came into the living room carrying a plate of cookies and a tray of cups of warm milk. As she set the cups down on the coffee table, I noticed the figure of the baby Jesus lying in the center of the table. It was the only sign of Christmas in the whole house. The children stared wide-eyed with wonder at the plate of cookies my mother set before them. One of the littlest ones woke up and crawled out from under the blanket, and seeing all the strangers in his house, he began to cry. My mother swooped him up in her arms and began to sing to him.
This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the day of the Son of Mary.
She sang and she danced the baby around the room until he settled down again. My father, finishing his work on the oil burner, wiped his hands on his muffler and said, "I've got it going, but you'll need more oil. I made a few calls tonight, and when I get home, I'll make those calls and we'll get you some oil." "Yes, ma'am, you came to the right place," he grinned. When my father calculated that the furnace was going strong once more, our family bundled up and made our way home. My father didn't say a thing about the cold weather on the way back, and we barely had set foot inside the door when he ran to the phone. "Ed, hey Ed, how are you there, Ed?" I heard him say. "Yes, Merry Christmas to you too. Say, Ed, listen, we have kind of an unusual situation here, and I know you've got that pickup truck, right? Well, I wonder if we could round up some of the guys and find a Christmas tree. You know, a couple of things for," and the conversation went on. It was all lost in a blur to me because me and my brother ran up to our rooms, began pulling off clothes out of our closets and off our shelves. My mother checked through belongings for sizes and games, and she would say, "Yeah, this will do. No, this won't," and added some of her own sweaters and slacks to our stack. We were way up past our bedtime that night wrapping those gifts. The men my father called had found oil for the furnace, bedding, 2 chairs, 3 lamps, and made 2 trips to 205 Chestnut Street before the night was done. Our gifts were piled into the truck on the second trip, and even though it must have been by then 30 degrees below zero, my father let us ride in the back of the pickup truck. No one ever did call about the missing figurine in the nativity set, but as I grow older, I realize that it wasn't a packing mistake at all. We all need a little extra Jesus that night, and the Spirit of Jesus was there when we needed it in everything we did.
It's a source of awe to me that this image of a small child in the humblest of circumstances could become a sign of hope and peace. The radical message of Christmas is that God himself aligned himself with the poor and the oppressed rather than the rich rulers of the world. It's the message underlying our stories today and tonight, and it's the message underlying our next hymn, number 244 in the gray hymnal. It came upon a midnight clear. This hymn was written by a Unitarian minister in 1849, and if we pay attention to the words, I think we can see the connections between our hopes for this world then and now.
Touch
A lot of us here have heard the classic Christmas story, probably read out of a King James Bible more times than we can count. Because of the repetition, we sometimes miss how strange and relevant this story can be. Familiarity can do that to you. For that reason, this year we bring you the Nativity story, rewritten for the modern ear, informed by years of studying the Bible from a historical, critical point of view. We have also changed the people and place names to the original Aramaic, the language that was spoken during the time and place of the setting of the story. Our story begins then with a teenage girl named Miriam, long ago in Roman-occupied Israel. She lived in a town that at the time was very small called Nazareth. She lived every day under the oppression of occupying forces. She and all her people told the stories about how they were once free to live and worship as they would wish, and each of them longed for those days to come again. One day she had a vision of an angel who told her that she would have a child, and she would name him Yeshua. He would be called the Son of the Most High. He would bring his people their promised liberation, and he would have a kingdom of goodness and grace. This gave Miriam hope that one day her son would bring her people freedom, and she sang a prayer from her heart. My soul sings to the Most High God. I have been blessed to bring into the world one who will save our people. He will break the rod of our oppressors and lift up the lowly. He will feed the hungry from the table of the rich and the indulgent. The Most High has remembered us. His mercy is great and deep and wide. I will sing my gratitude with great joy.
Late into Miriam's pregnancy, the occupying forces wanted to count and tax the people of her land. They ordered everyone to return to their hometown and be counted. So Miriam and her fiancé, Yosef, joined a caravan headed to his hometown, Bethlehem. They walked for about a week. Miriam tried not to complain, but she was so uncomfortable with her swollen ankles and heavy belly. People in the caravan helped her and Yosef as much as they could. When they got to Bethlehem, the great crowds displaced by the empire's decree filled up every place to sleep that could be found. But Yosef and Miriam found a dry cave where the animals slept, and there she gave birth to her little boy. She wrapped him in swaddling clothes and placed him in a manger.
Nearby, shepherds were spending the night on the hills around Bethlehem, watching over their sheep. Suddenly an angel appeared to them, and they were terrified. The angel said to them, "Don't be afraid. I have good news. Tonight a child has been born, and he will bring your people freedom. Go into town and find him, wrapped in swaddling clothes and laying in a manger." And then even more angels appeared, shining with a great light and singing, "Glory to God in the highest, and peace on earth, goodwill towards all." This was just too much, and they ran from that place. They found the child, and they marveled that what these strange messengers had said was true.
In the meantime, wise men from far away observed an astrological event in the sky that foretold a great leader had been born in a far-off land. They traveled and searched for him a long time. They encountered a corrupt ruler who worked for the occupying forces, a puppet king called Herodes. They told him about their prophecy and asked if he knew where they could find the child. Fearing a threat to his power, he told the wise men that, well, he wanted to know where that child was too. The wise men continued their wanderings until they came to a home with a young child and his mother, Miriam. They somehow knew they had found that leader that they had been searching for, and they gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, myrrh. That night, they shared a dream, warning them of Herodes' bad intentions, so they did not return to him with the news, but instead they went home another way.
Yosef also had a dream that his family was in danger. So he gathered up Miriam and Yeshua, and they fled to Egypt. The Gospels don't tell us what it was like for this family running for their lives as refugees. They don't tell us how this family was received when they got there, or what the child Yeshua learned in Egypt as he grew up. All of that is left to our imaginations. But we know that one day Yeshua returned as a man to become a great teacher and a leader of his people. And that's a story for another day. Today, the day before Christmas, there are still people longing for peace. There are still young women singing songs of liberation and placing their hopes in the lives of their children. There are still infant lives put at risk by those who care only for maintaining their own power. There are still refugees fleeing violence. There are still seekers searching for truth. There are still people all over the world praying for liberation and peace. And this is our prayer too, that love wins out over fear, that hope wins out over despair, that liberation wins out over oppression. What Christian churches are still standing in Gaza and the West Bank, and many churches around the world in solidarity with them, have canceled their Christmas celebrations this year. The least I can do is dedicate this next song to all the people in Christ's homeland who are suffering from war and yearning for peace. Just like the people long ago, we live hoping and praying that a better future we haven't seen yet, for peace on earth and goodwill to all, will come soon.
So this is Christmas. What have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. So this is Christmas. I hope you had fun, dear and the dear ones, old and the young.
for Tiffany today for our community candles. And that is the prayer, the wish, the dream, the hope, and the goal of every single one of us, isn't it? That war is over. The road may be long, but every honest intention, every light of hope, every commitment to lay down our weapons and love each other is a movement in the right direction. Today, my candle card is for peace for everyone. If you'd like to share a joy or sorrow in person, please use the candle cards that are located on the back table. If you'd like to share a joy or concern from a distance, please email minister@hvuuc.org. Today, I will be reading 2 candle cards from our community. The first candle card is from Alesha. Alesha would like to light a candle for the 20,000 dead and 50,000 injured in Gaza over the last 3 months, as well as the 2 million displaced refugees still suffering. Our next candle card, and it is with great sorrow that I announce that longtime church member Gerald Keep passed away on December 21st, 2023. Gerald served this congregation in many roles over the years, including the role of stewardship, and he will also greatly miss his wonderful voice in our choir. Please keep Linda, their son Nick, and other family members in your hearts. A memorial service will be scheduled at a later date.
We have been waiting for a time of peace and justice, of wonder and joy, of solidarity and hope, of laughter and love. Move with us, move together into this time, asking your heart what is needed still to make the vision of Christmas a reality. Thank you for being here with us today. We've given our elves the day off, so there will be no coffee hour. But you are welcome. Oh, wait, what? I stand corrected. This script was written before one elf stepped up. Thank you, Elf Betty. Betty is an amazing elf. So for anyone that is new and not familiar with the layout of the church, these doorways and this doorway lead into the Fred Ballroom where we have coffee. And we would love to have you just mingle and talk and get to know any of us as well. So welcome again. And we also invite you, if you're visiting us for the first time, to leave your information at the welcoming table, grab a brochure. We would love to see you again. Next Sunday, New Year's Eve, is our pancakes and jam breakfast. So again, if you have not been here before or haven't been here a full year, it is not a normal sermon and service. It is where we just feast on pancakes and common breakfast sides while enjoying an open mic talent show and maybe even a jam session. There's a suggested donation of $5 a person, max 20 per family, and it's just it won't be recorded. The only way to enjoy it is to be here next Sunday and come hungry. And it's at 10:30 instead of the normal 11 o'clock. Also, just like this Sunday where there was no RE, there will not be RE for children next Sunday as well. So the kids get to enjoy music and pancakes. One more Christmas carol before we go. Anticipating the joy of Christmas morning, let us sing together Joy to the World, number 245 in the gray hymnal. This is also when we collect the offering. That supports the many ministries, justice efforts, and fellowship opportunities of this special place. Please rise with us in body or spirit for our closing hymn number 245, Joy to the World.
Thank you so much for your generosity this week and every week. May justice lead us to the calling of this moment. May wonder meet us right where we are. May we discover our collaborators and our companions. May love guide us on our journey and transformation. Blessed be, amen, and go in peace. And now you can say, yay, church.